I do want to get into this. 24 years old, right? Fresh out of college.
Yep.
You decide, I want to run for city council, for my city that raised me.
Running for office is very, very challenging. I had to believe that, this was what my calling was. This is what God intended me to do, was to leave this type of impact, trailblaze through this barrier and show others that, hey, like, for one, it's a something of need. We need, young leaders to be, advocates and be in the center, to tabling these concerns and these needs, not just adult people, that don't look like us, I come from the most, diverse, most beautiful city in the world, Tukwila, we're made up of just people of color. White people is like the minority, which is a beautiful thing, but we need people that look like the people that,
to represent,
represent. So I just felt like this was in my heart. This is something that, I prayed for, and, nothing or no one was ever going to get in the way of that. I was going to compromise that, for nothing.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
What it do?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
What's going on, boss?
What's up with it, man?
I'm good.
Nice sweater.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, man. Got to represent. The marathon continues, man. You already know, man. Yeah, man. I'm excited. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, as I stated, this is the UpNUp Podcast on the UpNUp Network. We're focused on cultivating culture, and we do that by providing amazing stories, right? Powerful stories, inspiring stories of all the movers, the shakers, the hustlers, right? Yep. Individuals, groups, movements that have been created and are continuously being created.
Yes, sir.
And they're just pushing the envelope, not only for us here, but for the next generation, right?
Yes, sir.
Those to come, man. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the family, right?
Welcome
to the family, and to the consistent family members, supporters, those who've been given the encouragement, the energy, just in any sort of way, man. We want to salute you as always. Thank you. We appreciate you.
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feeling good, man. I'm feeling great. Shout out to the team in the room. You got to acknowledge them. They make the energy right?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, like I said, I'm super excited because you know what we do, man, with these episodes, we're trying to push, right? We're trying to push the culture forward. And I would say today's guest is definitely a young brother who's a walking demonstration of that, pushing the culture forward. And he's also, I would say, a representation of what it means to step into your greatness, right? We talk about that a lot, stepping into your greatness. He's definitely doing that for the greater good. He's definitely a true culture cultivator who's keeping everything he's doing on the up and up, right?
Yep.
A little bit of insight on the brother. He's a young trailblazer, activist, community builder. And just to kind of give a little more deep dive, back in 2021, he actually carved his way to becoming the city councilman of the city of Tukwila, right? But he did it in a different type of way. He did it in a more historical fashion by becoming the youngest in the city's history.
Yeah.
Right? I believe at age 24.
Yep.
Right? 24 is a great number, by the way.
Yeah.
24 is a great number, man. But in doing that, man, he's took it upon himself to really try to push and elevate his people, his community, near and far. And it's safe to say he's just getting started. Like I said, he's a young brother. Right?
Definitely.
But he's wise beyond his years, and we're super excited to learn more about his journey that he's been on and he's continuously building on. So without further ado, let's just get straight to him, man. Our guest is none other than the good brother himself, Councilman Mohamed Abdi. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm really happy and blessed to be here today in you guys' presence. It's just an honor to be in the show, be on the 94th episode of this show. You guys have been doing a lot of great work. I actually followed, you guys' work before I met you, about 4 years ago. And I always kind of aspired and dreamed one day. I was like, it would be cool if I could be with these brothers, you know what I mean, that's cultivating, pushing the movement forward. It would be an honor to be a guest one day. And I'm happy that, my story got to you guys, and I'm really blessed to be here today.
Man, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, manifested.
You manifested that.
Yes.
This is a full circle moment, though, man. Because I remember when I first met you. You know what I mean? We was out in Olympia, and this is, I believe you were still in school, right? And it's just, I love the full circle moments, man. This is right on time, right?
Yeah.
It was right on time, man.
Definitely, a long time in the making. When I met you in Biniam, at the Olympia State Capitol, when we were just advocating for issues and trying to talk about education and the importance of just being change makers, you know, and pushing, you know, the movement forward. I met you brothers. I networked with you guys, and I think you kind of sprinkled a little bit to me. Hey, one day we're gonna work together soon, you know. Yeah. And then I did a podcast a couple years back called the Refund Podcast, and you were like my third guest. Yeah. And so the love has always been mutual, and I'm really, really, you know, excited and I'm happy to meet your co-host, Erm. You know, being a fan of the show, you know, you always hold it down, you know, and I love, you know, humility and how you kind of grace through the show. So I'm really happy to meet you as well.
Thank you, man. You've been doing some historical things too, man. So I'm a fan of yours, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, bro. Man, well, you're familiar with the show, obviously, right? So you know we always start every episode with the quote of the day, right, to get the vibe right. So, brother, man, Erm, what you got for us, man?
All right, man. Quote of the day today is: a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Yeah.
Who was that quote by?
John C. Maxwell. He's the author, writer.
I like that one.
I love that quote.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah. It's like you talk it, you walk it, you know what I'm saying? You live it. That's okay. I like that.
Kind of resonated with my guy over here. So, you know.
Yeah, and I love that quote because it reminds me of something my dad told me. You know, one of the realest quotes that he's ever told me was, Muhammad, just because people voted for you does not make you a leader. It's what you do with that privilege. Yeah. So, you know, that stuck with me, and I knew just because I got in the position I got in today doesn't really make me a leader. It's about the actions that I put forth, you know, and what I do with that power and that privilege, and that it's all about, you know, what you do, because that's what people are gonna, you know, always remember is how you, those encounterments, you know, the encounters that you have, the actions that you put forth. If you make an impact, people will never forget that. You know, it'll always resonate with them. It'll leave a mark with them.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, one kindness act at a time.
I like that, man. I like that, man. Now, you know, obviously what we do here is we get into the journeys, right? And everybody got a story. Like I say, no matter who we have on this show, everybody got a story, and everybody's stories matter. But before we do jump into the journey, you know, being that, you know, you are a newly elected councilman now and taking on this new chapter, right? I did go back and I remember reading at the beginning of your campaign, you said, and I quote, bringing a fresh new voice of advocacy to the table. So I'm just curious, like in this very moment, 2023, where you're at now, what has it been like so far? Like, what has it been like to try to bring that fresh new voice?
Yeah, honestly, it's been an honor and a blessing. One, because, you know, I remember praying for times like this, you know, praying to God that I wanted to be a leader one day, you know, a leader that lead an impact, a difference, you know, in my community, in the world. And, you know, as cliche as it may sound, like when I was growing up, I always told myself, like, I want to change the world. And I've realized that I might not be able to change the entire world, but I believe that helping change one person's life, you know what I mean, is help making a difference in the world that they live in, you know. And, you know, just growing up in my religion, I always, you know, learned that if you help one person, it's like helping all of mankind, you know. So because you're changing their world, and in their world, they have loved ones, and they have family, they have friends, you know. And so you help them, you know, trying to change their trajectory, you know, leaving a mark on their life. So
it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect. Yes, it's a ripple effect. It's a domino effect. You know, you help one person, it's gonna, that energy is gonna be that frequency. You know, it's gonna go by, you know, all the people that they love and the people that they encounter with. So it's been an honor, a blessing. I'm the youngest council member to ever do it in my city, and so I'm not just representing just my intersectionality, being Somali, being Muslim, being black, but I'm representing the youth. You know, they never had someone as young as me be in that place. And you know, usually when you guys think about someone that's an elected official, what do you guys usually think of? Someone that's white or older. You know, that's usually the face. You know, so I feel like you know, I'm breaking a barrier. You know, trying to show a way to, you know, my people. People younger than me, people that look like me, people that identify as a person of color. That hey, that you know, if you know, if Muhammad could do it, then you know, hey, I could do what I aspire to do, what my dream is. So it's an honor and a blessing. I really feel like I'm making a difference. So
no, you definitely are, man. Definitely, man.
That's what's up, bro. So I definitely want to take it back, talk about your early life and like just, you know, growing up in this city and all that. So I want to touch on that.
Oh yeah, so I was born in Kenya, Nairobi, in a refugee camp. I was born in '96, December 16, and my mom, my dad, they met. So they in the Somalia, there was a civil war that happened in the early '90s, and you know, you guys ever watch Hotel Rwanda?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you guys ever see Hotel Rwanda, like people always have to take their belongings and have to just kind of migrate. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you leave your house behind, you leaving all your valuable stuff, and you just have to just survive. You know.
Yeah.
So my mom, my dad, they were one of many Somali people that had to flee away from the country. So the next neighboring country that you see is Kenya, Nairobi, and that's where a lot of the people that look like us, they had to seek refuge. So my mom, my dad, they were neighbors actually in the same camp, and a little over time, they had history together, and they got married, and then boom, they had me.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Damn.
Just like that.
So it's kind of a trippy because if you really think about it, I was born in the middle of traumatic things happening.
Yeah.
Does that make that's the trippy part?
Yeah.
Like it took all that in order for me to be here and have my existence.
Wow.
So I think that's really powerful, really deep, and it resonates with me because my parents had to endure a lot, just like a lot of people of color. I'm sure you guys have family back home, and they had to.
Yeah.
They went through a lot of oppression or trauma. So to be a product of that, it's like wow.
Yeah.
So now everything I do to dedicate to my parents. And validate their sacrifice.
Yo, that's a very that's a great way in describing kind of the origins for real. Like you took it there, bro. I like that. I guess when we do touch on people's upbringings, I'm always curious about kind of just like how did you navigate, right? Because and then I guess in your case, being first generation immigrant, Somalian, like what was that experience like for you? Because I feel like everybody has their own version of that, but what was that like navigating and kind of coming up and trying to find your way?
Yeah, so for me, I'll never forget. So when I was born, I left when I was 5 months. The first city I moved to was Tukwila, Washington. So Tukwila is like really my home. It's a place that I was raised, and growing up, I faced a lot of language barriers and a lot of culture barriers, and in that I've also realized that the difficulties and the challenges that my parents had to face. And one of the things that actually really resonated with me was the discrimination that they faced. When it came to like getting their passport. Trying to get our green card, they were always overlooked, just because they didn't know how to speak the language well, and I just didn't like the discrimination that I was seeing, even at a very young, age. It really left something with me, I was like, I don't want people, that are immigrants, people to be looked that way, to be overlooked, to not get the help that they need, or to be scoffed at, just because they don't know English, like, okay, next person, you know what I mean, like, oh, okay, you figure it out. So now what I'm trying to do is like I want to be present to those that really need help, and meet people's needs and their wants, but do it with a certain level of humility, and grace, and empathy. So that was something that really I remember happening to me when I was really young, and then I didn't even know how to speak English until I was in the second grade. So literally, I didn't know how to speak, English until I was in the second grade, and so I just constantly challenged myself, read books, I'm sure. Did you guys ever take ELA classes at one point?
I actually didn't, but no, I can understand what that's like.
Yes.
Just because I feel like even myself, like I've moved and I changed schools a lot, so like even that in itself is like there's an adaptation that you have to do. You have to come in and like now you have to learn how to be here. Then you go there and you gotta learn how to be there. So that's interesting, bro. And I think but like what were you involved in? Because I'm gonna be honest. I would assume, and maybe I'm wrong, but you probably were involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, and
for sure,
and, I could tell because like I feel like you have to kind of plant those seeds early. But what was that like? Were you involved in a lot?
Yeah. So the first thing I signed up for. So as I was struggling to speak English growing up, the first thing I signed up in the 5th grade was I signed up to be a peer mediator. So a peer mediator basically was one of those kids that wear like a little vest, and I was trying to help the families cross the crosswalk.
Oh yeah,
street,
okay.
That was the first time I probably felt like I belonged, in the school. Like I stood out, or I was doing something to just give it back, And I like that feeling, you know what I mean? Like I feel like leadership qualities, like the joy that I've got is just helping put smiles on people's faces, greeting, hey, you have a blessed day, you have a good day, having a smile on your face. You'd be surprised like how far a smile could do to somebody, lighten their day, brighten their day, check on how somebody's doing, have a good one.
It's big.
It's big. So I learned that at a really young age. So that was one. And then in middle school, I was a mentor to the upcoming 6th graders as an 8th grader. We had a thing called, A-team. So it was just basically you'd come in the summer, help the upcoming 6th graders feel like they feel welcome and feel like they belong there, And then in high school, I was in basketball. I was actually varsity team captain of the basketball team.
Okay, pop your shit. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So that was really dope. But that's really the crazy story of how I got to that point. And then I did track, I did cross country, I did pole vaulting.
You did pole vaulting too?
I did pole vaulting. I did.
Okay.
I did soccer in middle school. We went undefeated, and then I retired.
What sport didn't you do?
What did I not do? Wrestling. Wrestling. But yeah, I always kept myself busy, man. And because I think sports is a good, mechanism of how you kind of have to deal with life, how you deal with people, how do you get along with people, how do you pick somebody up, when they're down. So sports was really a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Well, man, since we're on that topic, because I did read about that too, how you were a captain, and I know you kind of touched on it right now, but what were some of the things you kind of picked up, like being in a leadership position? And since you said it was kind of a crazy story, I kind of want you to touch on that too.
Yeah. So great question. So basically, so my biggest dream, if I, being aside from being a politician and things like that, was to be an NBA player. And I'm sure I'm not the only one here. Bell's a hooper, so he knows this, and he's actually really good at it. So
play for the Celtics too, right? That's what I know. That's what you want.
That was my dream. But I had to kind of keep it real with myself. I was like, you know what, you gotta make it a realistic goal. My realistic goal was to be on varsity my senior year. So going back to middle school, 7th grade was the first time you could try out. I got cut my 7th grade year. First time I ever felt embarrassed. First time I really felt vulnerable. And I talked to the coach. I said, hey, like, what was the requirements, the criteria on why I didn't make it, And I just had to work a little extra harder. He was like, hey, like, you bring great intangibles. You're a great leader, but, it's just very competitive. So 8th grade year, I did the same. I tried out again. I made it. Cool. Now that translates to high school. Now I'm like, that's one part. In high school, freshman year, I did we did warm ups. We did conditioning. We did conditioning. And you gotta run around the track. Go to open gyms. So you're trying to show the coaches that that you have what it takes to be on the team.
Yeah.
My freshman year, my trials really went well, but the coach was like, you know what, Mohamed, like, we really love what you bring. We love your spirit, but unfortunately, you got cut. And usually the turnover rate, the rate of you making it as a freshman is pretty low. Yeah. It's pretty low. But I was almost there, though. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I just got to work that much harder next year. So sophomore year, luckily I made it to JV. Awesome. I was on the bench. Junior year, I was a starter on JV. All right, beautiful. Okay, we're getting there. Because the goal is, varsity senior year. So going into that year, I made it to the summer team. So the summer team is supposed to gear you to get ready for the school, for the season. And fast forward that to the winter when you're doing tryouts. I did the tryouts. I feel like I'm feeling good. I'm probably one of the fastest guys on the team because cross country helped me get to that point. I was conditioning myself to get ready for the season, trying to find a way I could stand out. And then the day of tryouts, I'll never forget. So my last name is spelled Abdi, so it's ABDI. So usually alphabetically, I'm gonna be the first name on the top. That makes sense. When you check your name the next day, I don't gotta look down. I don't gotta look in the middle. I'm gonna look at the first thing.
Yeah, you know where to look.
Right. So I look, and my name is not there. I got cut my senior year, and when I tell you that was probably the first time I was ever devastated, and I felt the most embarrassed. It just brought me back to how I got cut my 7th grade year. It was just just being a young kid, just my goal to make it to the team, just like all my peers.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like deja vu all over again. Like we're back at somewhere that we didn't want to be back at. And I felt embarrassed. Everybody was talking to me, Mohamed, like, what happened? I was talking to the school. Oh, yeah, like, this was your goal. Because everybody knew during that tryout season, I kept on talking about how optimistic I was and how happy and joyful and excited I was to be on the team. Everything was aligning right, but then I just didn't make it. And so I had to just kind of tell myself, you know what, Mohamed, like, you're going to go to the coach after, the school's over, like that school day's over, and go to practice and talk to the coach on why you didn't make it to the team. So I go to the coach. It was his dad, which is the assistant coach and the varsity coach, and I asked him, hey, coach, like, I don't want to be disrespectful or, what I mean, like, go against any of you guys' like, wishes, but I would love to know, like, why didn't I not make it to the team? And basically he was like, Mohamed, in all the 10 years I've done coaching, this is the toughest decision I ever had to make. But, we had a lot of talented freshmen, and we're trying to help build them up. And for sure. Just kind of, felt, not into, like, our top priority, basically,
Yeah.
And that was tough to hear, you know, because that was an ego punch, you know, like wow, like
for sure.
You basically telling me I'm not good enough, you know.
Yeah.
But I grew up within the basketball program. They know me since I was since I was a sophomore, since I was a junior, and to not make it, it just, you know, I was like, you know, it is what it is. I could respect that. But then they told me, you know what, Mohamed, we love you so much. We don't want you to go away from our program. We want you to actually be part of our practice squad. So you won't travel with the team. You're not on the team, but just come to our practices. Like, we love to have your presence around there, you know?
Yeah.
And I just love the sport so much. And I loved my brothers that were on the team. This is my last year. I can't get senior year back.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'll come show up and support.
Yep.
So I do that for about a week. And they cut 2 freshmen because they had 6 Fs.
Yeah.
Mind you, I had like at least straight A's.
Yeah.
So,
See?
there you go.
Stay in school.
Yeah.
Go to class.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I had to
put that out there. My bad.
You know, you good. You good. No, that's true. Like, so luckily, me having excellent grades helped me.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. And so they had to cut 2 freshmen because they had 6 Fs. And they're like, you know what, Mohamed, we have good news for you. You made it to the team. But I wasn't satisfied because I felt like I deserved to be there in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I needed a handout or I needed to, be ecstatic, be happy that you got there. No, I felt like I deserved it from the first get-go, you know?
Yep.
And then another week passes by, they're voting for team captains. I got unanimously voted as a team captain of the basketball team. So
that's the
power of not giving up.
No,
that's the
the
power
whole
of not
time.
giving up.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna be honest. The whole time you're telling this story, which is great. Appreciate you for it's very descriptive, but it's such a metaphor, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying, for why you're at where you're currently at right now.
Yeah,
it's a mentality thing, and I'm glad that I asked that question because that's why I want to know what developed you to become where you're at now, and it's that, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you were already. It's like what Jay-Z got that line. He's like, you are who you are before you got here.
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, bro, that mentality is what's gonna get people further, you know. And kind of just going off of that period in your life. Again, you know, you becoming councilman at such a young age, 24, right?
Yep.
You went through school, right? Higher education.
Yes, I did.
You attended University of Washington.
Yep.
Talk about kind of that experience because I believe you went and ran for office immediately after college, right?
Yes,
but what was that period like prior? Like, what was college like for you?
Yeah, so for me, before I went to college, it kind of really resonates. It kind of connects parallel with the basketball story. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I learned the power of not giving up. You know, the power of believing in your dreams when no one else can see it but yourself. You know what I mean? You know, be proactive. You know, when someone doesn't see what you see for yourself, you have to go fight for that. You know, you gotta believe in that. And so, I'm the oldest of 8. I have 1 brother, 6 sisters, and I wanted to be the first to graduate, not only high school in my family, but college. So when basketball season was over, that was amazing, and you know all that. Now I have to shift my mind to applying for colleges. So when I applied for colleges, you know, we kind of talked about the word manifestation earlier at the beginning of the show, and I really, really love that word because when I was younger, I had a UW Husky license plate on my wall at the age of like 10, and I always told myself, looking at that every single day, I was like, that's my dream school. That's the school I want to go to. So when I applied for the colleges, I wanted to go to University of Washington, Seattle. Being an extrovert, I wanted to go to the biggest school that we have out here, you know.
Yeah.
And I that was my goal. And so when I applied, I got the decisions back. Unfortunately, UW did not take me. You know, I did not get accepted. And so this will remind me of the basketball story. You know, like I wanted something, I wanted it really bad, and I just didn't get it. So what am I gonna do? I gotta work that 10 times harder.
Yeah.
So I went to Seattle Central Community College, and that was the best decision I ever made in my life because people told me growing up, like going to community college, oh yeah, like it just felt like you're not intelligent enough, you're not good enough to go to the university, you know. But I realized like if anything, it was the smartest decision because you get to really work on your GPA all over again. You know, you get to have more intimate sense with your teachers, you know, and the classmates, and so that actually got me to have a better GPA than I did in high school. When I was in high school, I had a 3.0. But I had all these leadership, you know, things on my resume. I was a school board representative for the district, kind of like ASB president, you know. I was, you know, the guy that was doing all the assemblies, you know, the intercom, telling people to stand up for the pledge. He was like, I was the spirit of the school.
He was active.
I was really active in high school. And I had a 2.0 GPA. So I always felt like I might not have 4.0, but I felt like I was a well-rounded student.
Yeah. But
for some reason, I didn't get accepted to my dream school, you know? Maybe because they just seen another Muhammad throw it out. I have my own conspiracy theories behind it, you know? But I went to community college, and I'm a firm believer that, you know, whatever God has written for you, like, you know, like it's gonna be, you know, and you know, things happen for a reason. So with the community college, I did that for 2 years, and then when I reapplied again, I finally made it to my dream school. So this power of not giving up.
Yeah,
bro.
Power of not giving up.
Can you talk about I guess, because, you know, there's always a lot of narratives out here that say, oh, college isn't for everybody, or college isn't necessary. And I think that narrative is starting to grow more and more as we just move forward. But, like, what is your message to the youth in terms of, like, because me personally, I went through it, and it's been beneficial for way more reasons outside of just academics and, you know, positioning yourself for the workforce and all that. Like, can you just talk about kind of the importance of higher education? Like, and how it worked for you?
Yes. For me, it kept me disciplined. You know, I think discipline is a key universal, you know, trait that it's good to have. You know what I mean? Because every dream, every goal, every thing that you aspire, that you want, you gotta have some sort of discipline. You know, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice all the time. And so for me, it kept me disciplined. Like, okay, all these hours of work, you know, studying and getting things done, like, it helped me become a better human being. It helped me become a better worker, a better servant leader. So that was one. Two, you know, like I said earlier, like, my parents never got the chance to get higher education because the Civil War interrupted their schooling. Not because they weren't smart enough, not because they're not gifted enough. They just had a lot of traumatic things happen to them where they had to stop that and help raise a family. So what am I gonna do with that opportunity? You know, I have every reason to be motivated. You know what I mean? Sometimes I understand as human beings, like, we lose motivation, but I have to always remind myself, all the motivation I need is by looking at what my parents went through, you know?
That's real.
That's real, you know? So for me, I had to do that to validate their sacrifice. I did that to, you know, set a good example and be a role model to my younger siblings. Like, hey, if your older brother Muhammad could do it, then you guys could do it, you know?
100%.
So I think the beauty of you know, doing higher education is that you make your parents proud, you make your community proud, and honestly, it does wonders for you as a human being. I just think it makes you want to work that much harder, you know? And that's what it did for me. I didn't want to stop just at school. I wanted to become a leader and get to that point. So.
No, that's real. That's real talk, bro, because I do believe that, like, you develop momentum. You know, even for myself personally, I know, like, and I'm sure a lot of people can attest to it. It's like, up until college, I was never really disciplined. Like, to be honest, like, and to be disciplined for a long period of time. You might have been disciplined for maybe like a few months, maybe like you might have your little runs, but, you know, like you said, college forces you to really stick with it, and you got to do a lot of stuff that you don't want to do. But the momentum you build can be utilized and channeled into something else outside of that, right? So. Sure. And I feel like you're a testament to that for sure.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man.
So were you like going into like leadership positions? Cause like you mentioned, you're in a lot of stuff, especially in high school and, you know, all of that. So, did you kind of always feel like it was in you, or was it just, did it kind of come naturally to you? Cause you're just involved in so many things.
Yeah, I always, you know, that's a great question. I think being a leader naturally came from being a leader at the house. You know, God gave me the ability to be the eldest of, you know, 8 in my family, you know, for whatever reason. At one point in time, I always wished I had an older sibling, you know, someone who could give me the blueprint, the pathway to life, you know. But as the older I got, I was like, no, like, I'm really happy and proud to have led a good example to my younger siblings, you know, to my community, to my cousins, everybody. So it naturally came from being the eldest at home. That was one. And then two, kind of like I mentioned earlier, like when I was struggling to read, you know, and you know, speak the, you know, English language, the people that gravitated the most reading was Dr. King, Malcolm X, and Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know, all the leaders that credit Scott King, Rosa Parks, everybody, they all had leadership intangibles. You know, they're all about the greater good of everybody else, not themselves. You know, how do you champion the wants and needs of other people above your own? And once I realized that you know, that important message, that I just kind of like internalized that, you know. And you know, even when I was growing up, I had multiple Muhammads in my class, you know. That was another thing. I was like, you know, like, it's hard to stand out. Every class I went to, it was like I had 3 Muhammads.
It's actually the most common name around the world.
Yeah, the most common name. If you look at the most common names, it has to be Mohamed Abdi, and I got both. So you know what I mean? Literally, I got my brother right here. You know what I mean? He knows how it is. So you know, sometimes you struggle like what is gonna be my identity? What is, how am I gonna find a way to stand out?
Yeah.
But then I realized I did some soul searching, and my aunt actually named me Muhammad after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she named me behind him because he was a leader. He left an impact on the world, and she seen something in me that I didn't see in myself, and so it became something more meaningful to me as I got older. Yeah. Now I embrace my name. I love my name. You know what I mean? I'm growing to love my story. So, so that's kind of like where my leadership class came from.
I love that, man. Like people think we're all works in progress, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you got to really be in tune with your own growth and your own evolution and care about it. And actually, you know what I'm saying? And you'll pay attention to why things are happening the way they are.
Yep.
Now I do want to get into this. 24 years old, right? Fresh out of college.
Yep.
You decide, I want to run for city council for my city that raised me. Most people, when they come out of college, they just want to try to find a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, I'm just trying to find a job. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, get situated. What was your mentality to say, I want to go run? I want to put myself there. I want to step into such a huge role.
Yeah, for me, I know what my calling, my purpose is. My calling, my purpose is to help people. Mm-hmm. That's what I love to do. Mm-hmm. And so, I've been giving back since I was 14 years old. I've been lobbying bills about education, immigration, homelessness, from 14 all the way to now 26. And so, being a leader, it took time, but it's something that happened for me, at a very young age. And so I told myself after I graduated, how can I have a bigger impact on giving back and being a servant leader? Mm-hmm. And so when I graduated, my best accomplishment ever, because again, I got to validate my parents' sacrifice. I did it for them, and my ancestors. Doing it to validate my ancestors' wildest dreams. Like I always say, I'm sure they when they had my parents, they're like, we want a better world for our grandkids, and our kids. Mm-hmm. Then I had to pivot. Okay, I said, you know what? I don't want to have post-grad depression. Post-grad depression is a real thing. Yeah. A lot of people that have graduated, they kind of get a little bit lost as to what they want to do and where they want to go right after school because nothing's guaranteed. Yeah. I don't care what degree you have or anything like that. It's not going to be happening like within a snap of a finger. So I told myself, you know what? I did a career survey, what I could do with my degree. And my degree was American Ethics Studies with a minor in diversity. All I seen was social work, being a teacher, being a counselor. And I was like, my heart's not totally there. Mm-hmm. I feel like those are the causes that I have, but that's not exactly the career I want to go to. Yeah. So then I found out that it said that city council, it said elected official. So I did some researching, and I found out that you can run for office at an early age, at a very young age. And I had a conversation with my aunt, Obakadede, and my mother, my dad, and they were like, you know what, Muhammad, I think this would be a good idea for you. And I got their blessing. And when I got their blessing, that's all I needed. I sat on that, and then I had a conversation with the first ever Somali elected official named Zaki Don. Amazing leader, he was the first to trailblaze that, to be someone of our color, of our background to do it. And so it gave me also something I could visualize. If he could do it, I could do it. Yep. And so, everything was divine timing. I'm slowly about to graduate. The deadline to apply for office is about May. It's a month before I graduate. I was like, you know what? I've done enough thinking, enough sitting on it. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I'm going to do it. Let's do this, So I made my announcement. The whole community went crazy. Hey, like, what? This guy's running for office? Yeah. And when I was younger, a lot of times people were telling me, hey, what's up, governor? What's up, president? I was getting these type of, words of affirmation, and I didn't really fully believe it, Like, I understood what they meant by that because I was just always a person that was just, trying to serve my community, but it was not something I knew I was gonna do. But it was like something that was whispering in my ear, So when that opportunity came, I was like, so this is what people always seen in me, So everything was just divine timing. So I did that. And then it was 6 months of campaigning. So I graduated, did 6 months of campaigning from the summer all the way to the fall. And I could tell you that was the most hardest yet rewarding experience of my life. That whole year, 2021.
Can you take us through, and this is amazing because I think this is going to be inspiring for people who just want to know the process of becoming a city councilman or even, trying to become a city councilman. What was that campaign like? And I guess, do you have advice and tips on how people can kind of overcome those early lessons you probably had to go through?
Yes. Well, for one, you definitely want good representation. So you're gonna have to try to get either you have to get a campaign manager. you gotta get or somebody that help support you. You know, you gotta get your website going. You gotta get your yard sign. You gotta get your why, your purpose. You know, what are you gonna tell to voters when you knock on their door? Their door. You know, why do you feel like you're very fit and suitable to represent their voice and their needs and their concerns? And so for me, you know, once I applied for the deadline, like I built my website. I built on, you know, what my purpose was going to be, what my story was going to be. People love to hear stories, you know, not just always about what policy you're going to go for. Yeah. Because these interactions are very quick. If you knock on someone's door, they don't want to listen to a whole spiel of things, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to come in, be very, have good, you know, greeting skills. Hey, like, how you doing? How, you know, how can I, you know, my name is Mohamed Abdi. This is, you know, why I'm running for office, and these are the things I'm going to try to advocate for. So I had to keep it short and simple. But yeah, that was one. And then two, you know, sometimes some people might not support you right away. I had a couple people slam their door, you know, in front of me, you know, because they just didn't want to see me. They didn't want to like give me a chance, you know. Yeah. People have implicit biasness, you know. Just because my name was Muhammad, just because I was black, some people didn't want to vote for that. They would much rather vote for my white counterpart. So I think, you know, running for office is very, very challenging. It takes a mental toll on you. Sometimes you even question yourself. You know, you have imposter syndrome. Like, am I even good enough to do this? Am I even smart enough to do this? You know, but I had to fight through that every single day and know that, you know what, like, we need more, you know, representation, people of color, a youth, and I just stuck to that, you know, focus.
I'm curious about that part of it. When you said like it takes a mental toll on you and there's that imposter syndrome, how do you navigate that? Because I think it is a space where you're only going to be successful if you get validation. Yep. You know what I mean? A lot of times people who go into those positions are very self-confident, self-aware. They know who they are. They know why they're doing the work. But in order to actually do it, you got to have all these people validate you and accept you. So, like, I don't know. How did you navigate that?
Yeah, honestly, you know, I had to stop thinking about proving other people wrong. I had to prove myself right. I think that's really what it is. You know, I had to believe that, you know, this was what my calling was. This is what God intended me to do, was to leave this type of impact, you know, trailblaze through this barrier and show others that, hey, like, you know, for one, it's a something of need. You know, we need, you know, young leaders to be, you know, advocates and be in the center, to tabling these concerns and these needs, not just adult people, you know what I mean, that don't look like us, you know. I come from the most, you know, diverse, most beautiful city in the world, Tukwila, you know. We're made up of just people of color. White people is like the minority, which is a beautiful thing. But we need people that look like the people that, you know,
to represent,
represent. So I just felt like this was in my heart. This is something that, you know, I prayed for, and you know, nothing or no one was ever gonna get in the way of that. I was gonna compromise that, you know, for nothing. And so, and I had people that supported me and backed me up. You know, my parents always to reassure me and give me the most beautiful words of affirmation, like, Mom, you can do this. Like, we're right behind you. You know, we right next to you. You know, we're gonna help you door knock every single door. You know, and be there with you every step of the way. So I always had, you know, my why in front of me every single time, you know, so I never forgot about that. So I have faith and I have belief in myself, and that's all you need sometimes, and you can get through anything. So
I love that, bro.
Yeah, like I said, I was reading about you a little bit, and it was something very interesting and something that it was really powerful that I read, and it was something along the lines of you saying that win or lose, like, you still want people to be engaged, like, regardless, you know, so just kind of want you to touch on that, because I think that's a very, very powerful message, you know.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up. I think what it is like, I never look at any situation like I'm going to lose. Yeah. I look at it as either I'm going to win or I'm going to learn, you know, and I think that mindset, that mentality is going to really get you far, you know. No failure is really, it's not really a failure. It's a learning lesson, you know. Like, what are you going to take away from that? And so, you know, I think that mindset has really propelled me and it got me very far in life, you know? Yeah. Because every no I got led to a better yes down the road. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's right.
Every door closed, you know what I mean, was just trying to prepare me for something even better than I could have imagined. And so, it just kind of full circle, kind of talking about earlier. When I got cut, it was only leading me something better. Hey, you're going to be the team captain for the varsity team, you know? Yeah. When I didn't make it to, you know, my dream school initially, I was really just, you know, building my story a lot better, you know. Adversity wasn't just building my character, it was revealing my character. All these things I went through, it showed me what I was made of, you know. And so now I feel like any obstacle that ever goes in my way or anything that, I get challenged, like I can overcome that.
Yeah.
I can get through that.
Because you got reference points. I always say, like, when you reflect on your life, you have tons of reference points that you can just say, oh,
yep,
I went through that.
I went through that, yep.
I went through that. It's like your own Rolodex, bro. Like, but you gotta know your story. What we say, you gotta love your story. Like he was talking about. Yeah, you gotta love your story. You gotta know your story.
Love your story.
And own your story. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's real.
I think it's just dope because not only for the next person who might run for council.
Yeah.
You're not just talking to them. You're talking to just everybody in general. Just like get involved in your community. Like make sure you know what's going on and stuff like that, man. So I really appreciated you for saying that and putting that out there, because it's real,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, that's real, man. Now, you ended up winning, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
We ain't gonna talk about losing because he didn't lose, y'all.
Yeah.
But he won. You won, and so I guess take us through kind of like, if you can, just what was that like, that moment to know I did it, I accomplished it, but not just you. Obviously, you have your community with you and whatnot. But what was that moment like, just when you won and you finally can breathe a little bit?
Yeah, for me, man, that was one of my biggest dreams come true. It was one of the best days of my entire life because I felt like that whole campaign experience was basically trying to validate all the 16, 17 years that I had just constantly giving back. When I said the first thing I did leadership-wise was being a peer mediator and just helping families, cross the street, safely, to giving back, to being a school board representative, to, being the first to graduate high school and college in my family, to be giving back since 14, both locally and federally, going to D.C. Like, it was a culmination of everything I went through. That's what I felt like that campaign, really kind of represented for me, what it showed me. So to get to that, to the end point and hear that, Mohamed, we got the seat and you're the youngest to ever do in the city, man, I was like, all praise to Allah, all praise to God, God always has something special planned for me, you know what I mean? And now I know what my call and my purpose is. It's to serve people, it's to help people, and I'm gonna do that with one kindness act at a time, and help try to change as much lives as I possibly can. That's what I want my mark to be and what my legacy to be. So,
man, you definitely. It's just inspiring, man. To put your mind to something, man, and again, our shows. Our program, our show, our platform is really about representation. So you really were hitting the nail on the head. Yeah. Even when you spoke about, what's his name, Zach Edon?
Yeah, Zach Edon.
Yeah, how he was just a form of representation for you, just an image, just to see it.
Yep.
And you're gonna do it your own way.
Correct.
Probably won't be the way he did it, but just seeing that image is important. So I'm glad you brought that up. But now I am curious though, man, because those celebrations can be fun and lit, right? But then reality kicks in. You're like, all right, party's over. It's just me now. It's time to get to work. I want to know what's that like to go from the momentum of building, telling people, hey, I'm the guy. You finally win. Now it's time to lock in. What was that like? I guess transition like.
So for one, we did party hard, when we won. I'd say that first.
As you should.
Well deserved,
when we appreciate it. So when we got the position, we actually did a celebration at Lido restaurant, so Lido. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to have the party not just at my house or at a backyard or anything like that. I wanted to invest and support a small business while doing it, So we was able to help them kind of grow. And so once that was over, and I started, I got sworn in and I did the work. First of all, I was alarmed by all the emails I was getting. I was like, no one prepared me for that. I got hundreds and hundreds of emails. Mohamed, we want to meet you. This department wants to meet me. Firefighter department, the police department, the chief, human services, everybody, I was like, wow, it's a lot of work. And then it was that amount of reading. So I do 20 hours of reading a week. You know what I mean? Okay. So we get our packets on Fridays, read throughout the weekend, and then we always meet every Monday.
Okay.
Every Monday for 4 years. And it's a 4-year term, except holidays, of course. And so, man, the work is, it's a lot of work, but it's very liberating. It's rewarding work, you know what I mean? Because I know that I'm centering the needs of the youth, the marginalized people of color, the immigrants that look like me, I'm trying to champion their wants and their needs, so that they can have the best quality of life.
Yeah.
And so I love Tukwila. I love my constituents, my residents. Yeah. And it's all about trying to really do my best to serve them,
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Man. It's just, I love it, man, because, people need to know the context of what it takes to really commit to something like this, because it's a real job. I am curious though as well, like being in a space that I feel like there can be like an age gap. Yes. For sure, right? At least in your case, you know. Yep. What is that like? How's that been? Do you find it as an advantage, disadvantage? Like, what is it like for you? Yeah,
I think initially when I did, you know, it's human nature to be nervous, all that, going back to what I said earlier, I had imposter syndrome. I questioned myself a little bit, like, damn, like, am I really in the right position I need to be in? Mm-hmm. You know, the work could be daunting. You know, no one looks like me. Mm-hmm. You know, people are a lot older than me. Everybody's almost twice my age. They're my parents' age, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Almost all of them. And so I was like, you know, sometimes it's hard to try to find someone that you could relate to, you know what I mean? Someone that you could talk to, because all of our challenges and our hurdles are much different, you know? Yeah. But I had to constantly remind myself, people voted you for a reason. Mm-hmm. All those people I door knocked, all those people that I encountered with since I was a young kid, and you know, it was a full circle moment with seeing some of the parents of my friends that I grew up with, and the people that I used to work with in the community center, all that, like, they wanted me there for a reason. Mm-hmm. So it's up to me to take that privilege and really use it for good. Mm. So as time has went along, I'm like, wow, like this is really rewarding. Like this is amazing, and I feel like I'm inspiring young kids. I've gotten a lot of emails saying people, you know, from young kids like, Mohamed, like, I want to do what you do. You know what I mean? Mm. I've had kids telling me like, hey, you helped change my kid's life. You know, I want them to be just like you. Mm. And so that's like the best comment you could ever think of. You know, like you truly inspiring somebody, even when you least expect it. You know what I mean?
You never know who's watching.
You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching every step, everything that you do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what, man? See, that's the beauty of life. That's the bigger picture, you know? Mm. It's about inspiring. And I love that, you know, quote from Nipsey Hussle, the highest human act is to inspire. Mm-hmm. And I live with that every single day. Mm. So when I go to work and I do these readings and I go to these meetings, I'm trying to fight and advocate for every person of color, every immigrant, every youth, you know? And so I think it's rewarding work.
Yeah, no, for sure, bro.
Man, that's what's up, man. So, man, this is amazing, by the way. But just to switch gears a little bit, how did you get into filmmaking?
Ooh, yeah. So COVID, first of all, like, you know, a lot of us, it was hard to navigate through, you know. We all had to be, you know, you had to quarantine, you had to be isolated, and I was like, you know what, I'm a dreamer. I have to do something. I can't be stagnant. I can't sit down.
You're a creator.
I'm a creator. Yeah, it's all about being innovative and creating something. So I was like, you know what, Mohamed, what's something that you always wanted to do, but you probably want to get the chance to do it later, you know? When things are back to normal. I was like, oh, filmmaking, you know? And so I met a good friend named Saul Goodwin, and during the time we had the unfortunate tragedies of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and that just shook me to my core. I'm a very empathetic person, you know? I feel for people. So when things happen like that, I can't just sit down and just not do nothing about it. Like, I self-reflect, I look to myself, what could I do? What could I change, you know? So I was like, you know what? Videos are very powerful. Yeah. You know, everybody has a time in their day to watch a video. So I wanted to cultivate a video that was going to leave, you know, something positive, something inspiring to everybody. So my whole video was based off of mental health. It was based off of surviving the movement work. You know, I also consider myself someone as an organizer, as an activist, and we go through a lot. You know, be in the front lines, you know what I mean? It's such a very isolating yet vulnerable thing to do. You know, people attacking you, people you know, name calling you, you know, overlooking you, all that. People getting hurt physically. You know? And so I wanted to get all the organizers that I respected and admired in the community, and I wanted to do like testimonials, you know, and talk about how we could survive, you know, the state of the world that we live in, and how could we get past that. I wanted to have a positive message at the end. So it was a 9-minute video. I was really, really happy to do it. It's one of my proudest work. And after a year later, it won an award by the biggest mental health organization called Mental Health America, and I got the 2021 Media Award. Wow! So never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that my film could ever get an award. Yeah. And that's the day I learned that, hey, anything you set your mind to, you could do it.
Nah, man, that's powerful, bro. And I think a lot of times, especially in like when it comes to creating like art, because it is art, you know. If it comes from a real place, a lot of times that's all that really matters, because that's what's gonna guide you to the execution of it, figuring out what resources I need, who do I want involved. But you got to start with like kind of the passion and the why, and I think that's important, man. And you know, mental health is important in any sort of way we can contribute to that narrative. and just that cause, you know. But I think that's it's good to have a balance, man.
Oh, for sure.
It's definitely good to have a balance for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Mental health is such a taboo subject, you know, in our communities. You know, I've seen, you know, people I love, you know, overlook depression and overlook, you know, all these other things, and I can't really blame them because that's how they had to cope with things. You know, that was you know the world that we, you know, our parents and those that came before us, you know, had to live, you know, back at home. But it's okay, you know, to be vulnerable. It's okay to you know, ask for help, you know, when you're in need. And so I just wanted to put a spotlight on that, especially for our people of color, you know, to show them, hey, it's okay to get help. It's okay to ask questions. Yeah. So that you can get to, you know, your better self. So yeah. That's what I want to touch on.
I love it, bro. No, I love it, man. And again, like whatever way you can contribute, make your contribution. At the end of the day, that's what everybody's trying to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Ultimately, you know, we just gotta make our contributions.
Yeah, man. I just brought that up because I'm like, man, you did all this, you know, running for council, winning, all that. And I'm like, man, where and when did he fit in filmmaking? You know what I mean? So I think that's just dope, man. But like hearing your story, I mean, we're just learning you can do it all, you know. So and yeah, that's dope though.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I do want to kind of get a sense of like, what do you do outside of the work to keep you balanced, though? I mean, even filmmaking is work, you know. But what are some things that kind of help you and keep you balanced on the topic? Because I really feel like that does play into mental health as well. We got to find things that we need to make time for.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I'd say one, I pray. You know, being Muslim, you know, our obligation is to pray 5 times a day, to worship God, and to never get greedy, you know, when good things happen to your life, you know what I mean? Always constantly remember, you know, the why, you know what I mean? You know, God has really blessed us, you know, to get all the things that we have now. So that's one. And 2, playing basketball. Love basketball. That's like one of my safe haven. You know, help release.
We gotta get some runs in, bro.
No, I got. Hey, I see those early morning hoop sessions that you've been having.
Come on, man. Breakfast club.
I'm hearing that's the best hoop sessions there is. You know, so I got at least tapping at least one of those. You know.
Come on.
And then 3rd, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big music lover. You know.
Okay.
I think music helps get you through. You know.
Oh yeah.
Helps get you through
every day.
So you know, I'm a big music historian, you know, love me some R&B, some hip hop, you know, yeah. So I think I listen to music almost every day. So yeah. So I think those 3 things, is things I do outside my work.
I love it, bro. I love it. I did kind of want to get your take. You know, those that do listen and view the show, they're hustlers, man. You know, we know they're out there, they're grinding, right? They're dream chasers. They're going after what they want. But you represent what it means to like really just step into it, just step into that greatness, that calling that you said, right? Do you have advice for people who are hearing the call is ringing, but they haven't really picked it up yet? And it doesn't stop ringing sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to pick it up. But what is your advice for that? Like to step into the greatness.
I really, really love that, stepping into your greatness, because I think we all have, you know, some greatness to tap into. You know, I think the biggest advice, the biggest thing I would say is, first of all, don't ever give up. You know, life is going to test you. You know what I mean? You're going to have challenges. You're going to have hurdles. Never give up. Don't let, you know, any naysayer or hater or any of that define your capabilities. And that, you know, if you have pure intentions and you have love for what you do, and you work very hard to get those dreams, you know, you can do anything you set your mind to. And I think that God will always lead you the right way. So I think, you know, those are the things that I've always believed in, you know, just have pure intentions, have love, you know what I mean, have compassion, have humility, and, you know, God will always just continue to give you back, you know, everything that you ever designed and aspired to get. So, yeah, I'm a big firm believer of that.
I love that, bro.
Yeah. And I guess what's some advice for people who want to get involved, like in the community? Like, what are some of the ways that you would kind of like recommend? Because sometimes I hear people saying like they want to get more involved and stuff like that. So, like, what are some of the ways you could kind of guide people?
I always say just try to participate or involve yourself in any leadership position. You know, it could be a club. It could be being a leader on a basketball team. It could be, I want to do a homeless drive, or I want to do a food drive, or I want to, just do anything to cultivate, bring people together, you know? Because giving back and being a leader can look so many different ways. Yep. There's no one way to be a leader, you know? I chose this route, you know, to be an elected official. That was one way I chose to go do that. But being a leader and displaying leadership roles could look in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So that's one. to just know the why and the purpose. You know what I mean? Why are you doing this? And what are you trying to leave behind? And if you think about those things, then I think that you already have left a positive mark and left something, you know, good for everybody to follow by, or, you know, help change the world. And one of my favorite quotes that I ever heard was, "Be the change you want to see." Be the change that you want to see. It makes me think about treat people how you would want to be treated. So I live by that every single day. I might not change the whole entire world. I might not, you know, be the most biggest person to make a difference, but helping one person, I'm changing their world.
No, that's real.
And that's gonna play a ripple effect. You know what I mean?
That's real.
And I want to treat everybody how I want to be treated, because I don't want to be disrespected or discriminated or yelled at. You know what I mean? So if I don't want that, why would I do it to somebody else? You know? So act of kindness can go a long way, and it can help change people's lives for the better. So.
Oh, that's real, man.
For real.
No, that's real. I was crazy. I was having a conversation last night with someone, and we were just talking about it, and I was like, man, when you really break it down, all we control is our output.
Yes.
We don't control anything around us, really. We control our output, though. What we put out, whether that's energy, contributions, words, right? Like, so I think, like you said, if you just focus on your output and what you're putting out, you know, the universe will repay you and reward you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now, man, you got so much going on, bro. And I actually had the privilege to, like, know maybe a couple things that you got going on that maybe I don't know if everybody knows or a lot of people are familiar with, but I do always ask our guests, what are you most excited about for the future? So I want to give you a chance to talk about some things you may have coming down the pipeline. It could be, you know, long ways away, or it could even be maybe like very recent. I know you got some things, man.
Yeah, so basically the biggest thing I'm happy about right now, excited about, is just recently I got named to be the president of a Somali soccer club.
There we go. That's what I was alluding to.
Yeah. So
cat's out the bag.
Yeah. So I had a brother that I work with at a nonprofit that I work with, Somali Health Board, and his name is Abdullahi. So I've known him since August, since I got the job, and we always had a good relationship, good rapport. And last week on Wednesday, he was like, "Mohamed, I got some great news for you." He was like, "Do you have some time to meet on Friday?" I was like, "Yeah, no, I could definitely make some time." But I really couldn't wait till Friday to hear the good news. I was like, "Is there any way you could kind of tell me what the good news is?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, Mohamed, like, I just wanted to tell you that, you know, we wanted you to be the face. We wanted you to be the president of our Somali soccer club."
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
What? Like, that's such an honor and a blessing when someone that's your peer, you know, basically your age, sees something in you and they want you to represent them, represent the team, represent, you know, what they believe in and what they stand by. Like, I was like, that's like one of the biggest ultimate, you know, forms of respect, you know. So I was just smiling ear to ear, and I was like, wow, like I'm excited to do this, you know. And I'm more of a basketball guy. I'm not really.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, do you play soccer?
Nah, I played soccer when I was in middle school.
Okay.
I went undefeated. I was actually MVP offense, you know. But
oh my god,
I retired. We were 9-0, won.
Wait, what sport did you not play? Because I feel like, bro, you played everything.
Nah, I was a super active kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't the biggest, the strongest, the tallest, anything like that. But
the pole vaulting threw me. I was like, yo, if you do a pole vaulting, bro, you definitely got everybody beat. But go ahead, man.
Yeah. So basically, so he told me that. I was really excited, and then so basically, they're a fourth level division soccer league that they're in right now. It's called the UPSL league. So to put it in perspective, the South Sounders, they're the sixth division level of soccer.
Got it.
So there's 2 levels behind.
Okay.
So there's a semi-professional league, FIFA organized. There's over 350 teams across the country playing in this league, and we are one of 6 teams in the state of Washington.
And you guys are the only Somalian.
And we're the only Somali team in the whole country to be in this UPSL league.
Damn.
Yeah, so
that's major, bro. Congratulations, by the way. That's major, man.
I appreciate it. And honestly, I told those brothers right then and there, the goal is to have us be represented in the FIFA World Cup one day. You know what I mean? To have a team Somalia of some sort. Yeah. You know?
You just said it, bro. So you know how this manifestation thing works.
Yeah, literally.
You said it. You put that out. Put that energy into it. We're gonna see that happen, bro. Yeah, so, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I think that'd be dope. And I said, even if it's not our team at the World Cup, if we have one player, whether it's one of our you know, our players from our academy, the youth, ages 28 below, or the adults, if one makes it, we all won.
Yeah.
Like if we have one brother that comes out of our team and does that,
yeah,
man, we all like. I feel like we really did that,
for sure.
So yeah, because I love watching the FIFA World Cup, and it happens every few years. But I've never seen a Somali soccer player ever make it to that level.
Yeah.
So we're trying to help cultivate that. We're trying to help build that community that we want to see, and I could really see one of our players one day making there. And so don't forget what I said on this episode.
We got it. It's documented.
Okay?
We ain't gonna forget.
It's documented.
Yeah, it's documented. 2023. I don't even know today's date. I forgot. But
Today's the March 15th.
March 15th, 2023. We're gonna have one Somali soccer play for the World Cup one day.
Okay.
That's our dream.
He said it.
That's our dream.
He said we're gonna run this back.
Yeah.
When's the next World Cup?
Yeah, we have to look that up. Next 4 years, something like that. So really
that. Congratulations, though, bro. That's
that's
an amazing opportunity for you to lead in that way and contribute in that way in that space. So, okay, man. Well,
thank you for putting me on to that league too. I didn't know that, but
and we have a soccer game this Saturday. It's our friendly kickoff. The season starts on April 1st, but we want all the community, anybody and everybody to come. Bring your family, bring your kids, because this is historic. We never had this type of Somali representation be in this type of level of soccer. And we're gonna have food. We're gonna have sponsors. It's gonna be a lot of networking. So yeah, please, if you guys have the availability or the time to do it, we really would love to see you guys' faces on Saturday at Foster High School, 5 p.m.
That's amazing, man.
Sure.
Congratulations on that, man. I'm excited for that. Man, Mohamed, man, we appreciate you for the work you've been doing, the demonstration. You definitely are representing in your own unique way, which is the way it's supposed to be done, and we salute you 100%. But before we wrap things up, what's coming. We always ask this question.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, wait, what's up? What you got?
I always cut you off too.
No, go ahead.
Hella funny, but
I'm forgetting
where
something.
can people find you?
Yeah.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram, _Mo_Prince_. So _Mo_Prince_. You can find me on Twitter with that @ name. You can find me on Snapchat. You can find me. You can get my email. Some of my stuff is public. You can find my cell phone. You can find my city council number. So yeah.
And don't give them too much information.
Oh, okay. Well, no, but I always want to be. I always want to be accessible. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I'm always gonna think that people have good intentions to want to reach out to me. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
100%.
So yeah. _Mo_Prince_. If you DM me, reach out to me. I promise I'll get back to you, and I want to be of help in any way I can. So.
Definitely, man.
Sure, man.
There's a lot of people out here that definitely need to get in connection for sure.
Appreciate that, man. My bad.
No, thank you for that.
No, you're good. You're good, man. You know, sometimes people need to get cut off. It's okay. I understand. But like I was saying, we always ask every guest this question to wrap things up. So if you can, my brother, what's one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up, and why?
Gratitude.
I like that.
Yeah, no, gratitude for sure, man. I'm grateful for everything that God's ever given me. Every lesson, every mistake, every triumph. It was all happen. It's supposed to happen in one way or another. It was intended to happen. And I think my pure intentions, my faith, my belief, have genuine love. You know what I mean? That's got me through everything. And I'm really grateful for everything and anything. Even to be on the show, really, really grateful. I feel like I manifested that. I was like, these brothers, man, this is like our Breakfast Club. Of Washington. That's really how I feel. You look at the platform, you look at the space, you look at the ambiance, like the look of it. I was like, one day I want to be there. And then I got to meet brothers like Rebel, Beniam, home, everybody. So, like, I'm really happy to be here, and I want to continue to make networks, continue to make connections, and help change the world and be the change that I want to see in this world. So,
Gratitude, bro.
Gratitude.
We're grateful for you too, man.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. This has been a blessing, man. It's definitely been a blessing, and super excited to just continue witnessing history that's being made. Like I said, man, people making history in real time all around us, and we got to pay attention to it. And this is one brother for sure that's doing that. Yeah, man. Any final words to the people? Do you want to?
Man, just love, man. Just move with love, move with pure intentions, you know what I mean? And anything and everything can happen, you know what I mean? If you dream it, protect that, you know what I mean? Work hard for that, and I promise you, God will reward you, for your hard work and your pure intentions. So, yeah. don't ever give up on your dreams. If I could do it, you could do it.
Yeah.
Big facts. Big facts. Well, with that being said, I think it's safe to say Councilman Mohamed Abdi is officially a member of the UpNUp. Can we get a round of applause?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
To continue supporting the podcast and the entire UpNUp movement, be sure to rate, review, like, and subscribe.
As well as follow us at _ the UpNUp on all social media platforms to stay connected with everything the UpNUp has coming your way.
Thanks for listening, and until the next one,
Keep it on the UpNUp.